Don't accept.
Hey everyone, this is Ryan Cork with Broadcast Buddy TV, the all-around go-to channel for all things broadcast television. And on this channel, it is our goal to equip you with the tips, tricks, and know-hows to help make you a better broadcaster. So if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing and hit that bell icon so you never miss an upload. With that being said, let's get started. So today's video is going to be dedicated to a full behind-the-scenes look at one of our football productions using the production units. It's going to be more of an engineering take on things because the camera guy is going to be mostly tied to the hip with me, following me around and seeing what it's like to be an engineer on a broadcast shoot like this. And if you like what you see, if you like this format for that matter, let me know in the comments below, and maybe I'll do more in the future following the production side of things, or maybe more of different setups along the way. But this video is going to be long enough as it is, so no more wasting time, let's get right into it. Well, here we are, guys. We are at the hotel, and it is the day of the shoot, and it is raining profusely. And it looks like it's going to be raining all day, actually, based on what it says on every weather app available. And, you know, it's just part of it, right? It's not always sunshine in rose gardens when it comes to this, but we're going to try and shoot this video anyways. We got Brandy's going to be our camera guy today. And he's going to follow me around. And again, if there's anything that you see that you want like a more in-depth explanation on, or topics you might want to cover in the future, let me know in the comments below and we will do that. Okay, GPS loaded and we're ready to go. Surprisingly, this is pretty close to the hotel. It doesn't always work out that way, but for what it's worth, it always makes it easier, especially when you get back at night, get to the bar. Because let's be honest, that's the best part of the whole night. But yeah, man, we're off. This is fine. This is fine. Very aggressive windshield wipers. Still very aggressive. So one other thing to mention here is we've never been to this venue before, and effectively we're flying blind. Now, of course, you can always look up the maps and everything, and but you don't really get a full sense of your venue until you get your feet on the ground. And we just never had the opportunity to do like a full site walkthrough of this venue before the actual start of the season. So not only do we need to kind of, once we get there, figure out what we're doing, kind of get the lay of the land and everything, but we got to do it in the middle of a rainstorm, so that always adds insult to injury. So we'll make it work. But I did wake up early this morning, and there's a Dick's Sporting Goods across the street from the hotel. So I did go and I got these sweet rain pants, which ironically, how many years I've been doing this and have never actually have done that. So now I'm good to go. Business expense, right? So let's figure out where this is. If I was a stadium, where would I hide? Nope, I see lights. I see grandstand lights. Oh, look at that. Open gate, everything. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Never ceases to surprise me how grand some of these high school stadiums are. For those who don't know, this is in the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area, and boy do they not hold back. All right, let's get started here. So one of the first things that we have to do, of course, is get power to everything. So in these particular scenarios, we actually have a generator that we rent, and they come drop it off at some point, and then yeah, we just hook up power. Now, this particular unit, the truck and the trailer, actually get their own two 20-amp circuits. So we have a 50-amp cable coming off of this guy, and you know, they never really truly get pushed up to 20, so it's usually good enough. And then we have a power distribution box that takes that circuit and breaks it into the 4 circuits that we need. Each circuit on each unit has its primary for all the equipment, and then an additional circuit for AC, which may or may not need today, but it's always good to have just to keep the equipment nice and cool. Alright, so we'll let that warm up for a couple minutes before we kick it into overdrive, and then we'll make sure our voltage and frequency are good. Otherwise, we don't want to upset our UPSs in the trucks. And let me say, it's not always this clean of a setup. You know, we're pretty lucky that we're able to get right behind the press box, which is, you know, pretty centered to everything, but there's sometimes where we got to be, you know, further away, and the generator is difficult, and, you know, so for what it's worth, for not being here at all, this so far looks like it's going to be pretty straightforward. We'll have to trace our cable runs for the cameras to get down to the field, but yeah, other than that, I think we should be in good shape. So let's fire this up a little bit more now. Alright, so we're looking good. We're just shy of 60 hertz and 240 volts. So everything looks good. And what I'm going to do first is I'm going to plug in the trucks off the distribution box before I actually throw the circuit breakers, just, you know, make sure everything's still good. I actually have my LEDs in the truck just straight off of the shoreline, so I can always just look in real quick and make sure everything's good and the power is getting there. So yeah, just a fun little thing. Alright, so now that we got power, we can go in and start booting everything up, all the computers, the servers, and everything like that. So we'll start with the trailer, since we're over here. Not always possible, but when you can have a second engineer, or an E2 as we call it, it definitely helps setup time. That way I can kind of focus here on base camp, and he can kind of go scout out and start setting up the press box, which is, all in all, probably the most complicated thing about the whole setup is that part, because everything else is just single camera runs, right, for cables and things like that. So yeah. Anyway, powering stuff up. So obviously the trailer is just in its travel phase, so everything is kind of down and about. It's obviously trash. All right, so we'll turn the UPS on. So that's happy. We'll turn replay on. We'll turn graphics on. Graphics on, there we go. So let that do its thing. We'll turn my computer on, which will be over here. Truly, eventually, I want to get little bungee cords that we can just secure these. It's all a matter of time. Time and resources and There's a lot of little improvements I want to make to everything. All right, that's booting. That should be good. I think you're booting. Yes, you're booting. All right, so let's go do the truck next. So the heat shields are just for that, for heat, but also for dampening the light, right? Because we don't want to have glare on the monitors or anything like that, but it really saves a lot in those hot summer days, right? Because we only have one air unit on this thing, so any help we can get to help reflect the heat definitely is well received. So we got an old school Ross Blackstorm up here for our video server. We have our RTS matrix for intercom, and just like I have promised, I know 100 times with the flat pack and going over everything that's in there, I really will make a video and kind of go over this whole system as it is. But yeah, until then. Just the sound that made just explains the entirety of this day.
Right?
Yeah, that's a little better.
So it's not a trip hazard.
Yeah, I'll buy that. So what we're essentially doing here is the type of cables we have are SMPTE fiber, right? So they're not the most, how do I say, they are durable, but they are still fragile to a degree. And when we get our end zone cameras set up, one behind essentially each upright, we need to get it across the track, which inherently doesn't sound like would be that much of a challenge. However, nobody treats your cables with respect. They all just assume they're as rigid as copper, like you're running a power cord, and it's not their fault. They don't understand, but we as engineers need to protect that investment. So whether it's piggybacking on the mat that they have running across the track or laying down yellow jackets, because we have had cables flattened before, and unfortunately there's just an itty bitty piece of fiber that runs through this, which is glass at the end of the day, and people will run over it with their gators, their golf carts. You know, the band, when they're coming out to perform, will just drag their xylophones and stuff out, and just, you know, it's no fun for anybody, but we make do. So another thing we need to do here is going to be to connect the truck to the trailer. We have three custom snakes that we built for that. That's essentially comprised of BNC connectors and XLRs with maybe a Cat 5 thrown in there. And this is just carrying all the I/O, video inputs, video outputs, and everything. So that's just a process. But yeah, we'll just go ahead and plug all these in and get going. So this is, again, one of those things I know we could be doing a lot differently. and I hope to eventually again kind of move this so it's more interior based. But effectively what this box is doing is it inside is carrying all of our converters from HDSDI to fiber and back and forth, and as well as there's some XLR analog audio converters to digital as well, and then just some monitors here to preview those signals just to make sure that they're all good. But unfortunately with this design there is a outdoor element to it, so as this is setting up next to the truck, we need to keep it covered, which is why one of the reasons the pop-up is set up. But yeah, this stuff falls over. In another world, I would like to again kind of put this all inside, and then maybe get all of the fiber lines that go to the press box, which is this side, right? It's from here getting converted to single mode fiber running up to the press box. I'd like to get that all done over 1 or 2 strands of fiber at most, because right now I think we're using maybe 6 strands out of a 12-strand cable. But as I'm setting this up here, Jeff is upstairs in the press box setting up the other side of this, which is going to be the receiving or also partly transmitting, right? We got signals going both ways. So that's what's next, is I'm going to set this up, I'm going to get it here, I'm going to run its inputs and outputs into the I/O as well, and then eventually we will run the tack fiber cable between the two and light them up. So unfortunately for this part of the video, something happened to the audio. I don't know if the battery in the microphone would have died or if we just forgot to turn it back on. But essentially what you're seeing here is once we got the press boxes connected, I went to go and do the initial test on him, and unfortunately they weren't talking to each other. So I wasn't hearing myself in my headset and no one was hearing me in the truck, which is typically indicative of some sort of a network issue because of the Dante protocol that we use to make both the boxes talk to each other. The audio mixers for that matter. So cue the montage of me going through and troubleshooting this and eventually figuring it out. And let's take a look at what that solution was. So here we are again, about 30 minutes later. So after painstakingly checking cables, single mode fiber cables back and forth, checking SFPs. What ended up happening was the tack fiber line from here to the truck, something's going on with lines 11 and 12. So after doing some troubleshooting, I ended up pulling tack line 9 and 10 and using that in place of 11 and 12, and everything started talking again. So it's been a long season. This is like the last game of the season, and it's done now 18 games, so it's getting tired. There's probably a fair amount of cleaning we need to do, and we'll have to make sure that that cable is not broken or the end or something like that. But in the meantime, as a plan B, I was actually having Jeff run a Cat 5 home run back to the truck. Since we're close enough, we could have made that work. Because ultimately that's all we're doing, is we're just running Cat 5, or network rather. We're just running network, and we're doing it with fiber because of not always knowing how far away the press box is going to be, and Cat 5 is only good for maybe 300 plus a little extra feet. So yeah, that was going to be my backup plan. Always have a backup plan, and that's probably one of my biggest pieces of advice to anybody who wants to be a broadcast engineer is you can't get fixated on solution 1, right? You have to know when to cut your losses and start going into solution 2 or 3, plan A, plan B, and all those different things. So just food for thought. So I hear Jeff down there. You sound pretty good. Do you hear me? You hear me. That's great. And I think cool. Unless they're in the back, they probably won't. But So now Jeff is swapping over to the referee mic, so we're going to test those levels. We did get good levels from sideline. And I hear it in my head. It's a little quiet. No, I think I'm hearing you through sideline. All right, let me check the receiver. Yeah, I'm not seeing your receive levels on the receiver, so. Oh, for sure then. Yeah. Okay, so our audio guy's gonna run a battery down to him, and then we will listen to him. In the meantime, I can probably pop this headset on, and it's a good chance that if I hear myself here, then Couture is going to hear me downstairs, which I can hear myself. So once he gets back in after chucking a battery down to the field, then that will be good news. And I did have a spare. No, I didn't need that. Yeah, I took that back down. Okay. So, yeah, while we're waiting, it's, like I said before, it's pretty typical that something will break. You know, it's just the name of the game, Murphy's Law, when it comes to television. But you need to be able to adapt and overcome in every way, shape, or form to get the job done. So it really comes down to troubleshooting, right? And that's really what makes a good engineer, is being able to understand the flow of everything and find the leakage, I guess, so to speak. Oh, there's Ref Mike. It was, okay. And then I am on the, yep, I'm on color now, if you can hear me. Cool, and here's my talk back, talk back, talk back. All right, I didn't do that on the air side. Let me hop back over. Great, and I hear Jeff on both sides, and here's my talk back, talk back, talk back. All right, guys, I think that is a good, solid test. All right, thanks everyone. Okay, so now that we got the faxing done of cameras and audio, I just want to give you guys a little bit of a understanding of like where everything is. So we have up here in the press box, off to the side, there's a platform, which is where we have one of our cameras, and there's one of those on the other side as well. And as a matter of fact, probably open that up so we get some a little bit clearer of audio. But it'll probably leave the rain jackets on for the remainder of the day. It's cool enough, they're not going to overheat, and just in case the rain does decide to creep back, we'll be covered, both literally and metaphorically. Aside from that, like I said, there's one of those on the other side, and then we have two in the end zone. The other one is going to be down there next to the shot clock. Typically, the director likes to try to get as close to the hash as possible. And then down over there, we have it on a lift that is also rented by the same company that we get the generators from. So hit or miss, the one with the lift, sometimes they'll try and get it behind the upright. If it's not a possibility, they'll make it more of a slash cam, which is a fancy term for kind of off to the side, which is, you know, if you ever did your videography 101, you have your 180 plane and you typically don't cross that. But then you can set cameras up in a type of a vertical so that it's kind of like slicing through or slashing through that 180 plane. So that's where that terminology comes from. Aside from that, that's pretty much all the cameras. Remember that each and every one of those has a SMPTE fiber home run back to the truck, and that's carrying power, that's carrying all of the video and audio signals back and forth. And yeah, so that's going to be that. Now that everything's all good to go, set up and tested, it's just a matter of hurry up and wait, and hope nothing breaks in between. Beyond that, we'll catch up with you once we get started here and get a little closer to the actual time of kickoff. So we're getting close, guys. We're about 15 minutes to kickoff. We've ran into a few problems I had to troubleshoot. Just some of the coax between the two units is getting tired, so it's causing some intermittent connectivity. So just running a couple new lines, fresh lines back and forth, fixed it. They're pre-recording the open now, so that they can have that and just run it through for all the way through the first break. But yeah, we're getting close here. Hopefully everything keeps together. The rain looks like it's cleared out, thankfully. So yeah, we'll just keep you posted here and check back in when we're about ready to go live. All right, guys, we are down to the wire here. We're about to go live in about a minute. Yeah, everything should be good to go. We'll just keep an eye on this here, make sure that everything's good, and make sure that we are good to go. 30 seconds, so we're 6:59. We go live at 7, kickoff is at 7:06. And what's going to happen here on our program monitor is we're going to see it go to black, and they're going to roll it here in about, wait for it, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and up and roll it. And that's it, we're live. So at this point, we just kind of wait for things to break. They do their thing, the production crew does their stuff, and yeah, we go from there. So if we don't catch you in between teardown and now, we'll see you then.
Welcome to tonight's AHN Friday Night Rivals, presented by Clearview Federal Credit Union.
From next year's stadium, it's AHN Friday Night Rivals presented by Clearview Federal Credit Union. Tonight, the 6A season finale with the North Allegheny Tigers visiting the Seneca Valley Raiders. Hi again, everybody. Dan Watson, joined by former NFL quarterback and former North Allegheny quarterback, Mike McMahon.
Jay Porter in on the tackle. 4th down and 1.
At halftime, when the ref's coming off the field, I am going to change out the battery in the ref mic so we make sure we have good connection, good sound for the second half.
And then also we're going to do this guy over here, right?
Oh yes, we're going to change his battery on his stick mic after he does both interviews at the half.
So how much time do we have left at halftime? Or till halftime?
56 seconds.
56 seconds, all right.
56.
All right, we're going to go change the ref mic battery.
Indeed.
Keeping North Allegheny guessing on the field, how has that sort of provided some momentum, maybe some unique identity?
Cantor, Zach Everett, Emily Greco, Stevie Pacheski, Dion Page,
Just
and
like
Chelsea
that, huh?
Schill.
That's simple.
All right, that's it. We're clear. That's it. That's our last game. And now we're gonna go through strike and get to the bar. Right? Right. That's what it's all about. Tell you what, organization is key. Can you believe it took me 4.5, maybe 5 years to get a bin system in place? What did we do before that, you may ask? Cardboard boxes. Literally cardboard boxes. It was the worst. But we're moving up in the world. We're moving up in life. You know, we were able to afford fine things like plastic bins. It's great. I feel much better about myself. I feel much better about my organization skills. So, good times. It's always worth double checking everything at the end of the night just to make sure it's all there, because things do go missing, not by anyone's malicious intent, but it gets left behind. So we always try to take a little bit of extra care, look through all the packaging, and just make sure it's all put together. Start. Got our GPS coordinates in, and the unit is pulling out. So we're going to do the same and hopefully not nail anything. And here we go. Well guys, that is going to about do it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, this was another one of your suggestions that you wanted, so here it is. This was a lot of work, a lot of fun, but I felt really out of my element. This was a really kind of unusual video for me. But if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing and check out my other videos. There's a lot of really good stuff on the channel for you know, learning more about the industry and what we do as engineers and things like that. So with that being said, we'll catch you right here next time on Broadcast Buddy TV.